The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? Do you think it's a coincidence we're putting out the episode on Y2K just before its 25th anniversary? Oh no. I tell you what Amber and Scott are discussing, but they're discussing exactly what I told them to discuss if they know what's good for them. If not, I have quite a few friends who can pay them a quick visit. If you catch my drift. And I hate your intro. Sure, it's Cinema IRL, blah blah blah. Get on with it.
In the year 2000, machines rage against you.
Yes, this episode we are talking about Y2K. On the last night of 1999, two high school juniors crash a New Year's Eve party only to find themselves fighting for their lives in this dial-up disaster comedy.
It was interesting. It basically was a tale of two movies. Up till midnight and after midnight.
Yeah, absolutely. When the world goes crazy shortly right after midnight and all the electronics somehow gravitate magnetically to each other to create mega monster electronic killers.
This was Zoolander level dumb. and please note, if anyone's ever heard me talk about Zoolander, Zoolander level dumb is good. Like, or I should say bad maybe. Zoolander level bad. Like, Zoolander is so bad that it actually flips the quarter and becomes great.
Yeah, Kyle Moody wrote this and directed it, and I feel like this was some sort of pot-induced fever dream.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually funny because, yeah, I remember hearing people think I don't think they thought they were going to form some transformer and kill you, but everyone was scared that everything was going to stop working and go crazy because of Y2K, and obviously it was nothing, but he's like, what if everything did go crazy?
Yeah, and this was an extreme. It wasn't, like you said, it wasn't just things not working. It was, oh my gosh, the computers have somehow now found a way to attach each other's and it attracting cameras and games and computer monitors and electric saws, being this whole megala monster thing.
I'm not exactly sure how the blender got on that guy's dick.
Well, it had a cord.
But see, here's he's
probably doing something pervy with it.
I take a mild amount of umbrage with one thing is that
just one? I take a mild amount of umbrage to about 35 things.
That just because they're very similar sounding, electric and electronic, doesn't mean it's the same. Y2K affected things that were electronic, not things that were electric.
Are you trying to bring a dose of reality to this absolutely over-the-top movie?
I'm just saying the blenders, like there's no
and the microwave. It had things with cords.
Yeah, things with cords, but no chips.
Yeah, it doesn't.
No processors.
Okay, the fact that you were trying to logic this absolutely insanely ridiculous movie troubles me.
I'm just saying. The Tamagotchi I get. The blender not so much.
Yeah, no, we definitely had blenders and microwaves and, oh gosh, anything that you could possibly think of kind of just got sucked into all these huge monsters full of wires and electronics and
so you remember
appliances.
Dee Dee, the movie we watched, Dee Dee?
I do.
I felt a lot of the same feelings watching the first part of this that
another
I got
period piece
from Dee Dee. Like, they're like, how many 1999 references can we jam into like 20 minutes?
Yeah. Okay, that's my imitation of dial-up.
Oh, I can't.
Wow, that was surprisingly accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be here all week. Yeah, no, I loved. Man, I spent plenty of time on the AOL instant messengers.
Yeah.
And
seeing the slow load times where a picture goes line by line, doot. Yep.
Oh yeah, I loved when they brought up the video too, where it was super pixelated.
Yeah.
It unpixelated a little bit.
Yeah, I remember my dial-up connection all too well.
Oh yeah.
Or it's sometimes someone would be like, "Oh, I'm trying to call you for 2 hours." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I was on the
I
internet."
was on the internet. I mean,
And that's when it was only 2 hours and not like 18 hours like it is for everybody now.
yeah, and yeah, but unless you were super special and you got like that second line for the internet.
Oh yeah, no, I
God.
was not that special. But I remember when you'd be on there for a couple of hours and it would be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I was on there for 2 hours." And now, like, if someone only spends 2 hours on the internet now, they've reached some sort of nirvana achievement of restraint.
I remember when DSL became a thing, like your speeds were like 10, 20 times faster. You didn't need a second phone line. You just had to use these little filters on everything that wasn't a modem.
Oh yeah, where you stuck it into the wall and there was some sort of
Yeah.
filter there. Yeah, I forgot about those.
Yeah, to make that work. So
And for you youngsters who might be listening, yeah, I'm feeling like Grandma and Grandpa here talking about.
Back in my day, Sonny, we used to dial up on the internet and we couldn't see titties until like 5 minutes worth alone. We liked it that way.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of details to go into in this movie other than the fact that electronics, anything with a plug goes wild. They basically want to take over the world, destroy humankind, turn them into some sort of slave, and they are running for their lives to be able to protect themselves and then to stop this terrible injustice and bring down all of the crazy monster electronics. So what would you do?
Well, I would probably. So I don't know.
See, if I was a little confused over the fact that the entire city seemed to be burning down as they looked from the mountainside down on the city, and there was fires everywhere and whatnot. And it seemed like they had a plan that they were started in this town and they were going to extend their reach to other towns. And okay, so first of all, I want to give them credit for realizing they needed to get to some place that was very disconnected, where there wouldn't be any sort of machinery or electronics.
Yeah.
Even though a monster did tend to find them there. But I think that thinking was solid. And if I had a little genius coder with me like Laura, I would probably take down the monsters, or at least try.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, why not? You gotta. I mean, everything with that angle was just so, like, it was so IRL preposterous that you just kind of have to throw out the idea of IRL and like assume that reality is reality.
Well,
And
that's what I do in all the films. That's when we always have the
but
conflicts.
But see, I don't, because I put the IRL in cinema IRL. But in this case,
it was
like,
so over the top.
It was so over the top, but it was great. I mean, like, it was fan freaking tastic. I love this movie so freaking much. The dude with the condom. Here, I'm the condom fairy.
Yeah.
You know, he comes up the condom fairy.
Yeah.
You have sex, I put the condom under your pillow.
Yeah.
And then in the end, the condom is actually what makes it so they could finish it.
Yeah. It breaks the connection of Laura being electrocuted when she's trying to take down the big behemoth electronic monster.
I did find some interesting points in the relationship between Eli and Laura. I mean, mostly Eli towards Laura, though somewhat reciprocated.
So Eli was part of our nerdy duo, and his friend Danny got taken out toward the beginning of the overthrow, and Laura was the popular girl that nerdy Eli had a crush on.
Yeah, so like there were instances where like the world is going full on apocalypse, yet this dude is not going to be able to stop thinking about this girl. Like, no freaking matter what.
Oh, wasn't high school wonderful in that respect? That you really could just be like, oh yeah, nothing else matters. I'm just thinking about the crush.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Like you are sliding down the side of a hill in a porta potty.
Upside down with all the water
Like,
then gushing toward you.
Yeah, water and feces are flying everywhere, and he's just still
Wants to kiss the
laying
girl.
there, and she's there, and they're looking at each other. I was like, I would have been grossed out if they had kissed. I might have puked because like, oh, we kissed each other's or other people's feces.
Well, they certainly would have gotten sick. That's for sure.
Yes, yeah, that's how people get very sick. So,
Kissing other people with feces.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm really trying to think more on the what would you do lines of this movie. There's not, and I will say sometimes that's what you get in movies like this is when you get into survival movies. Well, the what would you do is survive. Now, do they
Well,
make
I think
silly decisions in it or not?
I think Eli had a really good strategy in trying to. So one of the monsters that they wound up encountering was actually his computer
Yeah.
that had morphed into this walking, talking with arms and legs kind of creature. And he tried to talk to his computer with all the knowledge that his computer had, that all the things he had talked about of like, oh, this is Roxy Girl, and because that was her screen name, and remember
Girl 20.
Roxy Girl 20. And, here's pictures of so-and-so. And he tried to use the data that he had fed into that computer as a way to connect with that computer of...
He was trying to emotionally connect with the computer.
Yeah. And I thought that was really interesting thought process that came from this otherwise wacky movie that spilled out of Kyle Mooney's head.
I mean, it's another one of those sometimes you just got to think outside the box type things of, okay, we're in a ridiculous situation here. What can we do? Because, I mean, even in real life, you can, I don't know if I can come up with an example right now, but you could end up in some situations you're like, this is pretty ridiculous. I don't know what the hell to do here. But then you figure it out. Like, no, even if you don't know what to do, eventually you're going to make some form of a choice.
Yeah, and when you can't figure it out and all of a sudden Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit shows up, that's always kind of fun too.
Limp Fred Durst?
Yeah, that was a...
I am so freaking amused by the fact that every single time he was called Fred Durst. Fred Durst as Fred Durst. Like, it was so over the top. I freaking loved it.
Oh, and when Fred sang Faith.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
Did he ever actually cover that song?
It's funny because
I don't
that's
think so.
That's okay, what's his name? George Michael.
George Michael,
yeah. That actually kind of felt familiar to me when he did start singing that. I think he might have, or at least somebody else
I
did.
thought Manson covered it.
Marilyn Manson?
Yeah, it was like, you've got to like, I've heard that version. I've actually heard that version, and
I bet it's covered a lot.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I don't know if Fred Durst has ever actually covered it, but maybe viewers, or I guess that requires video, audioers,
Listeners, audioers,
guys. I'm sorry. I've been up for way too long today.
That's true.
But yeah. Tell us if we're wrong, or I'll look it up while we're doing this.
Yeah, we actually do have a comment section there. So comment on stuff and subscribe to stuff because we always really appreciate that. But this film, if you just want to zone out with a bunch of silliness, just a silliness, this is definitely that kind of film. If you come in with any sort of expectations of anything incredibly profound or dramatic, this is not your film.
There is a video here from December of 2009, Limp Bizkit doing Faith.
Ah, okay.
So
oldie but a goodie then from Fred
yeah.
Durst.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, though, who else? Who did the screaming one?
I don't know. Okay. Hey, we're doing an episode here.
Yeah, okay. Well, Okay, sure.
Okay, you're gonna go down a rabbit hole. You're
Wow,
on
I'm
this
going
phone.
right
Yeah.
right the F down the rabbit hole here.
Okay, final thoughts.
What are they going to do when it's Y3K? I have no idea.
Oh gosh.
But
yeah.
I'll let our
Well-
children that figure it out.
Yeah, hopefully there's a world still for them to figure it out on.
Faith!
They're done. Why are you still here? Oh, you forgot to subscribe, right? Do that. Now leave before I send my friends after you too.